There will be a time in all of our lives when we ask ourselves this one question. What is happiness for us? And even more important, how can we achieve it? Is happiness being with your friends? Is it achieving success? Does it mean being respected by the person you admire the most? Is it finding your true soulmate or traveling to the world's most distant places? Sooner or later, this question will occupy our minds for a good portion of our lives. Some of us will struggle along the way, trying to find out what makes him or herself happy. And as sad as this may sound, some of us might never experience true happiness, this warm feeling that fills one's heart. Well, I'm really sorry that I can't help you with this question of happiness, but I know a manga that might can. I Had That Same Dream Again is a manga that centers exactly around this one question. What is happiness? And how do I get it? The premise of the story is fairly simple. Our protagonist Nanoka is a very clever girl but ultimately feels misunderstood by her classmates. She does not have any friends, so she rather spends her time at the library reading than playing with other children her age. On top of that, she feels very distant from her parents because their work schedules do not allow them to see her very often. So when she has to prepare a presentation in class about the topic of happiness, which is, just for the record, a pretty heavy question. I mean, I had to give a presentation about my cat and not an existential question that will lead me into early depression, but okay. She realizes that, even at her young age, answering this question honestly is not an easy task. But gladly, she's not alone. Over the course of the 3 manga volumes, she meets 3 women who could not be more different from each other. One is slightly older than Nanoka and suffers from depression. Another one is a middle-aged woman who helped take care of Nanoka's cat, and every time she visits the elderly woman, she returns home with snacks and lots of wisdom. So basically every grandma ever. Meeting all of these women from time to time, she slowly uncovers that happiness can be defined differently, while simultaneously learning that the path to her own happiness is not so easy to find. With a premise as simple as that, you might be asking yourself, okay, what makes this manga so special? Yes, I Had That Same Dream Again seems to have an easy premise on the surface, but similar to Yoru Sumino's other works, her strength in portraying 3-dimensional characters is what makes her story so extraordinary. Every character, no matter how small his or her role seems to be, is crafted carefully. Sumino-san is a master of her craft, knowing about her character's flaws, wants and needs, while her partner Izumi Kirihara understands to breathe life into her characters via clear and precise panel structure. Minami, that's how Nanoka calls the high schooler she meets on an abandoned rooftop, deals with self-harm because she cannot escape her painful past. It's clear that in this case, Sumino works a lot with symbolism, since the deserted building represents the emptiness of the high schooler's heart. However, she also has a secret passion. She loves to write stories. This creative desire links her directly to Nanoka, who also spends her time dreaming of writing creatively. As different as these 2 girls are, as much as their imagination of happiness differs from each other, this is what connects them on a deeper level. The middle-aged woman Nanoka meets regularly is an equally interesting character. What seems to be a relatively clever woman simply living alone slowly turns out to be a character fighting with demons such as loneliness and apathy. Sumino portrays a woman who, in her attempt to be smarter than everyone, loses touch with her surroundings so much that her destructive behavior leads her into prostitution. The old woman Nanoka visits is probably the most multi-layered character in the story. As someone who lived most of her life, she experienced happiness, only to lose it on the way and regain it in a different manner. It is no coincidence that one of the novels she recommends to Nanoka is The Little Prince, a story that deals with friendship, loneliness, love and loss through the eyes of a young and innocent protagonist. These 3 women, their hopes, their fears, their motivations, past mistakes and future plans, and ultimately the definition of happiness are the heart of the story, the blood pumping through the veins of this manga. The journey of these women feels like a journey that could happen to all of us, for better and for worse. Feeling lost and alone in our high school years, living a disconnected life in our 20s, or having the fortune of living a happy and fulfilled life. It's these stories that we have heard a million times in our surroundings. Grounded in realism, Sumino tells a heartwarming slice-of-life story with real people, and we feel that in every panel. What holds the story together is the energetic yet a little too clever Nanoka, who, by the way, knows way too many sayings that you've never heard before. Here are a few examples. Life is like a scoop of ice cream. If you don't lick it, you don't know what it tastes like. Okay. Life is like a cozy bed. If I just want to sleep in it, my bed is enough for me alone. Okay, whatever. Life is like a bento box. It just doesn't fit everything that's delicious. Okay. Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, I know what she means. Despite her knowledge of all of these sayings, she's a curious and light-hearted girl. Although she seems to be way smarter than all of her classmates, she still has a lot to learn when it comes to treating others correctly or understanding the complexities of the adult world. While she wants to defend her school friend Hikari from getting bullied at school, she believes that standing up for him means criticizing his inability to defend himself, when in reality she should support and respect him. Her attempts to help him are clearly the attempts of a young girl who only sees what she believes is true in her own eyes. However, there is something else that makes this story so special to me. It is the way in which I had the same dream again find answers for the question it raises. As already stated, every character has their own definition of happiness. For some, it might be to have the chance to travel back in time to erase mistakes from the past. For others, it might be to take care of the one person one truly loves and cares about. But it's the sum of all of these answers that makes this manga so satisfying to read. And like I said, finding a satisfying answer to this question is not an easy task. Author Yoru Sumino oftentimes raises questions in her works that are not easy to answer at first glance, like finding meaning to a life that is doomed. Similar to her more popular work I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, finding a satisfying answer to probably one of the hardest questions in life seems damn near impossible. Although there seems to be one question that is even harder to answer than what is happiness, which is, will there ever be a No Game No Life Season 2? We may never find out. That was not funny, I know. Despite the difficulty of that question, the manga seems to find satisfying answers for it. All individual, all different, but universally true. That is the real strength of the manga. One that I didn't think was possible after reading its first chapters. In just 3 volumes, I Had That Same Dream Again taught me ways to be happy, to deal with past struggles, explain why people feel how they feel, and direct me into a future full of compassion and fulfillment. Again, only in 3 volumes. The manga explains it perfectly. Everybody is different, yet we are all the same. This is why I'm sure that the all-embracing message of this manga will reach you one way or the other. Personal happiness is something different for everybody, and it will most likely change over time. For me, and for you. For me, personal happiness is hard to define, but I think it comes down to doing the things that I love and doing it with the people that I admire and that I respect. And yeah, maybe your personal happiness looks very different than mine. Also, my personal happiness would be if the mic would work correctly. That would make me happy. It's not easy to find your personal happiness. One day you feel like you finally know what it is, and the next day you think you couldn't be further away from it. But the most important thing, and this is what this manga also preaches, is to never give up trying to find your personal happiness, as hard as it sometimes may appear. I Had That Same Dream Again is a small manga, with only 3 volumes, and you might read it under 2 hours, but I promise you that the message this beautiful and melancholic story delivers will stick with you long after you've put the manga back into your bookshelf and continued with your life. Or to put it in the words of the many quotes of the manga, happiness doesn't come to you. You have to choose it and reach for it yourself.